The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
Hello, and welcome to the Hoop Ball DFS Today podcast. I am your host, Mike Patra, riding solo for this wonderful Monday card. We got two games to talk about, some good playoff action, a couple game twos, in the matter of fact, a couple interesting ones that I think a lot of people are excited for. Two close games that we got to see. Well, one was a little bit of a blowout, but expected to be a little bit closer, hopefully. But some good action nonetheless. Had a weekend that was just filled with sunshine, filled with heat out here in Connecticut. I spent the entire weekend grilling and chilling. It was a great time. So, for all those grill meisters out there, I need to upgrade my set. I thought I was a grill meister. I see people using Traegers, people using smokers. I want to get into that world. I just don't know how to. I'm a little scared. Normally, I just, regular grill. I like to consider myself a little chef on the side, although I'm not. It tastes good, but I don't think I could do it consistently. That's my trouble. But let's give a little shout out to our presenting sponsor over at MyBookie, guys. Check them out. Head over to mybookie.ag. When you sign up, that initial promo code, they're going to ask you for it. Type in hoopball, HOOPBALL. They will match you 50% on up to $1,000 on your initial deposit. So it's free money you can use over there. Put it on some playoff action. Put it on some MLB action. However you want to use it. It's free money. Take advantage of it or head over to their fully fledged casino platform for table games and slot play. Promo code HOOPBALL, HOOPBALL. That being said, it's going to be a relatively short show. It's a solo guy, and we only got two games, a couple of repeat performances. So I guess we can understand what to expect as far as rotations for the most part, which is always a positive. But the first one on the docket, Miami Heat traveling to Milwaukee, taking on the Bucks. For the Heat, Victor Oladipo has been rolled out, and on the Bucks side of the ball, Giannis Antetokounmpo has been rolled out. 222.5 game total. Milwaukee favored by 4. Game went to overtime in the first one after that big Jimmy Butler shot at the buzzer. And it wasn't too far after, or too long after, he took a nasty fall. So was able to shake that off. Looked like he hurt his wrist on that one. It's Jimmy Butler. He's a gamer. He's gonna play. Looking at this one, we'll start off with the Miami team, the Heat, the away team. Jimmy Butler, 85. I absolutely love Butler. I love playoff Butler. Butler's always been one of my favorite players, but one of my favorite DFS targets when I'm talking about playoff time. He just has a high energy motor. Yes, this game went to overtime. It doesn't matter. This dude was playing 40-plus minutes regardless. I mean, he played 46 minutes in an overtime game. He managed 47 DK points, and he shot 18% from the field, 4 of 22. That's not going to happen. More often than not, Jimmy Butler's going to be closer to a 50% shooter, at least a 45 to 48, even on the off night. So, it's not going to be the easiest defensive assignment for him. I don't expect it to be easy. He's going to draw Chris Middleton. He's going to draw Giannis at points. He'll even draw a little bit of Holiday. He's going to get the toughest guys thrown at him. But it's Jimmy Butler, the minutes, the price tag, when we look at some of these other guys on the slate around his price tag, they're just not going to play as much. And Jimmy Butler has just as high of a usage. The game doesn't have the higher game total. It is the lower game total of the day. With that being said, Milwaukee plays at one of the faster paces, so Miami is going to continue to play up in pace. And, sign me up for some Jimmy. The same thing can go for Bam at 8K. No issues going to Bam. Another guy shot absolutely terrible. If these guys just had some sort of their, even in their C game between Bam and Jimmy, both these guys made a combined 8 shots between the two of them on over almost 40 shot attempts. This game would have been over long before overtime. That being said, I expect Bam for a nice little bounce back. I would want at least one of these two guys in my lineups. It's really going to come down to construction. Jimmy Butler's my preferred option, but you can never go wrong with Bam. Outside of those two guys, I will not be playing Tyler Hero, but I don't mind looking at Goran Dragic at 5K. Just another guy came out there, and he did shoot the ball well, 10 of 17, but 35 minutes is what I want to see. Only 5K. Targeting two of these guys, maybe even 3 is probably the way to go. I mean, probably not 3, but between 2 out of the 3 guys I just mentioned, between Bam, between Butler, between Dragic, I want some action in those three guys. Outside of those three, there's not a lot of other guys I have too much interest in here. I could see taking a fly on a guy like Trevor Ariza or Duncan Robinson. I probably prefer Duncan. It's pretty much a toss-up. I mean, we always talk about how you want to attack this Milwaukee team. It's going to be from the three-point line. Duncan Robinson, 13 shot attempts in that last game, 13 of them from three-point land. So he did shoot 7 of 13, came out with 32 DK points. With that being said, Trevor Ariza is an excellent three-point shooter. Statistically, he's been one of the better corner three-point shooters in the NBA over the last 10 years. So both these guys are very viable. I guess it just comes down to construction, where you can fit them in, whether you want to slot one in at the forward or the power forward or the guard slot. So wrapping up the Miami Heat, Butler, Bam, Ariza, Dragic, all in play, and a little bit of Duncan Robinson as well. On the Milwaukee side of the ball, at the top of it, Giannis, 10-8. Obviously, we have to factor in, are we spending up on Giannis? Or are we spending up on Jokic? I think one of these guys seems like the right way to go is to get your shares. If you wanted to go more fair and balanced and maybe get some of these mid-tier guys on Milwaukee, it's probably the approach. I think I prefer Jokic ever so slightly. Jokic is top dog, less usage he has to share compared to Giannis when you got guys like Middleton and Holiday on the same team. You know, we know that Jokic right now, what Portland's strategy is to make him shoot, try to take him out of that kind of centerpiece where he's running the offense, take away the distribution abilities that he has, and force him to score. They'll eventually be able to counter that. The Jokic get-right game is going to be around the corner. So I won't fault you if you want to play Giannis by any means necessary. Like, it's Giannis. He's going to go bananas. We just saw that. Just came out and dropped 61 on them. So I just don't prefer him in this one. Just my preference. I think based on construction, Jokic is probably the way I'll end up going. If I had to pick between one of Holiday or Middleton, both these guys are absolutely viable, and it's kind of another reason why I don't want to play Giannis. I can still get exposure to one of these two guys on this side of the ball and feel comfortable with my Bucks exposure. I don't mind either one of them. If I had to pick one, I'd probably say it's going to be Holiday, but that's only because of the $500 discount. Both these guys are going to play a ton of minutes as long as the game stays close. And any of the ancillary pieces, no Brook Lopez for me. I don't think I'll be playing any Dante DiVincenzo, but I do think I will have a share of Bobby Portis. Just a value play if you need somebody around that 4K range. I don't love him. I don't hate him. Played 17 minutes in the last one. Only put up 15 DK points, but he's averaging about 20 DK points against this team in 4 games this season. That's right around 5x value. So we'll take it. And again, if you want to play Lopez, I don't fault you. 46, he played big minutes in the first game. He'll probably likely play big minutes in this one as well. It just matters on how you want to use your center spot. Jokic is it for me. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time game. Portland Trailblazers traveling to Denver, taking on the Nuggets. For the Nuggets, Will Barton, PJ Dozier, Jamal Murray all ruled out. For the Blazers, Zach Collins has been ruled out. 228 game total. Denver favored by 1 point. Game got out of hand a little bit in the first one. Portland ran away with that one. And we heard Nurkic actually come out. I think it was one of the post-game press conferences where he said, the game plan has been to let Jokic score. We want him to score, is what he said. And you can see it's evident in the last 2 games that they played. Both just happened to be against this Portland team. 1 and 2 assists in those games. Very un-Jokic-like. A guy that's averaging 8 assists in the season had a combined 3 assists in about 52 minutes of play. So that's likely going to change. It's still a picture-perfect matchup for Jokic. If the only merit I could see fading Jokic is because there's another center that we're going to talk about on this side of the ball, which I keep skipping. I gotta get the bearings straight over here. On the Portland side of the ball, and it's Nurkic. He's the only reason I fade Jokic. I do really like Nurkic. I always talk about Nurkic in this matchup against Jokic. He always plays well against Denver. It's always been something that I've been targeting throughout the years, and I don't see the reason to stop now. And that last one, he put up 42 DK points in 33 minutes. He's only 6,700. So the merit to fading Jokic is because you're playing Nurkic and you like your build more with Giannis. That's it. I'm going to be running both these out there. I'm not too sure which one I'm probably going to land on. As of now, I'm leaning more towards Jokic build for my single entries and for my cash. But for tournaments, I think it makes more sense to go with the Giannis approach. Outside of Nurkic, don't mind taking a stab at Lillard. Obviously, it's 9,500. Just not going to be one of my preferred guys. I think I would rather spend down on some of those other guys over there on Milwaukee. Just don't think I'm going to have the money. bottom line, I know I'm going to be spending up on Butler. I know I'm going to want some other shares of guys like either Jokic or Giannis. So I don't think I'll end up having the money for Mr. Damian Lillard. And that's probably it. Covington's coming in at a very, very, very enticing price tag at 4,400. He's a little risky for your cash games and your single entry. The floor is low, I guess. As of the last 5 games, he has 1 game with over 30 DK points. So the ceiling's always going to be there at Covington when he's knocking down shots, getting the steals, getting the blocks. But the floor has been extremely low. So a little tough to trust in your cash and single entry, but the upside is there for your tournaments. Absolutely. Plenty of upside for Covington at 4,400. I do want some shares of him. So for me, Nurkic and Covington, my 2 top options. And then I don't mind taking a stab at a guy like CJ McCollum, but I just don't think I'll land there. On the Denver side of things, you heard me talk about it a billion times. I'll keep talking about Jokic. Absolutely love him. Took 27 shot attempts to that last one. Yes, we're not getting all those wonderful assists, but the 16 boards, the 27 shot attempts, he will get the assists. The plays will finish. His teammates will finish the shots. It's going to happen. Jokic is the centerpiece of this offense. They can't not run the offense through him as much as they want. So look for them to dial some things up for him. He has at least 58 DK points in 3 out of the last 4 games, and he's been absolutely torching the Blazers this season. So expect that to continue. 10-7, great play. Outside of him, Porter Jr. coming in at 7K. Obvious fantastic play as long as the shot attempts are going to be there for him. The dude's averaging about 27 DK points against Portland. That's a little bit of a struggle, but the offense has to run through him. A lot of those games Jamal Murray was involved in during the regular season. There's no Jamal Murray. This guy's going to be taking 15 to 20 shot attempts a game during this playoff series. So I'm not gravitating towards him immediately. He's not one of the first guys I'm sticking in there. I'm not going to cross him out of my player pool. If he's somebody that you have a lot of interest in, sure, go for it. But for me, it's probably just going to be Jokic and the value play in Austin Rivers at 3,800. Played 33 minutes in this first game. Should continue to play at least high 20s, maybe not low 30s every single time. But at 3,800, when you need some value, he's right there. Makes a lot of sense. And you could take a stab at Aaron Gordon too, but only in your GPPs. And that's it. That's the initial look. That is the initial breakdown. Wow. This might have been one of the quickest podcasts I think we've ever done in the history of DFS today. Just a 2-gamer on a solo. But time for the player tiers. In the expensive tier, the top tier, when we're talking about it, Jokic, Giannis, we talked about both these guys. I'm actually going to go Butler. Jimmy Butler at 8,500. I already talked about it. It's over 8K, and I love him. You compare him with Giannis and Jokic. You can't really get either one of those guys wrong. Listen, trying to guess which one of these guys is going to outscore the other. It could happen. You can easily do it. I'm not saying it's impossible, but they're both fantastic plays. There's no doubt about that. So I'll take that decision out of it. I'll go with I'll let you make that one on your own, and I'll go with Butler at 8,500. He's the guy that I want in a lot of my lineups. For a mid-tier play, I'll keep it on brand, I think, and just roll with Nurkic. I talked about Nurkic, 6,700, one of my favorite center plays on the slate, one of my favorite plays from the Portland team, and one of my favorite plays in that game. Absolutely love Nurkic, love targeting him, going against his former team, going against Jokic. These two guys have faced off in practices plenty of times and have a plenty of game sample size since then where we've seen Nurkic hold his own. So absolutely love me some Yusuf Nurkic. And then for the value play, I have listed down right here, Austin Rivers, 3,800. Just talked about him in that last game. Just somebody who's under 4K, who's going to play a consistent role on this team, 30-plus minutes, as long as Jamal Murray is out. He's going to continue to be out, obviously, with the torn ACL. So sign me up. I don't mind looking at some Austin Rivers at 3,800. So rounding it out again for the player tiers, we got Jimmy Butler, we got Yusuf Nurkic, and we got Austin Rivers. Some of my foundational core pieces I will have, and I would probably say a majority of my lineups. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully this gets you all the way to work. If not, your radio DJ will handle the rest from here on out. But if you have a moment, you want to give me a follow on Twitter, you can find me at Mike Apotria, MikeApotria. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe, 5-star, wherever you're listening. iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, anywhere. We really do appreciate it. It means a lot to us, guys. So you get a little bit of your feedback in there. Let us know how you're doing. Give us that 5-star. And then when you subscribe, you get the notification. As soon as this podcast hits the sound waves. I don't know, the airwaves, radio waves, pod waves. We'll call them the pod waves. As soon as it hits the pod waves, you'll get notified. You can go give it a listen. Get up to date information because, like I always said, it's a first look podcast. We record this the night before on most occasions. And with that being said, a lot of things change. But for playoffs, we got a good understanding of what's going on there. So let's go out there. Let's crush some GPPs. Let's take down some money. And let's ride off into the sunset. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
This has been a Hoop Ball presentation.